Jamaica wasn't going to be the first.
I told Mr. Buchanan, he said I have a crystal ball, but all right.
As a matter of fact, it was going to be Trinidad.
The overall ticket for Vybz Kartel's performance was $1.35 million US, right? It opens a can of worms.
Deadline after deadline, crying after crying. You just couldn't manage a cartel show, and that's what you need to tell the people then.
Someone tell you $300,000 US to perform, and you do the maths, and you said, no, we can't accommodate that, right? Yeah. You just can't accommodate it.
I'm going to get married and get the green card, and pay attention one.
Welcome, it's not a radio, it's Levels with Kshema. I'm there with another quick review video. But before me get in it, you know the Shreps, big up to the Levels community. Thank you to our new subscribers. And if it's your first time checking in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Be a part of the Levels community. So Trinidad partygoers, event planners, and even the government are still picking up the pieces following an underwhelming One Caribbean Music Festival that saw Cartel, Sizzla, Mali, and Malidon pulling the plug last minute on the event due to breach of contractual obligations. Now, Trinidad and Tobago's Minister Davendranath Tankoon has already launched a probe into the major foreign exchange payout to Cartel by the promoter. So, of course, you know, all of this started after the promoter made a decision to bring clarity to Wagwan and then ultimately reveal, say, Cartel was paid $950,000 US directly from his performance fee of $1.35 US and another $150,000 US to his legal team. Now the government wants to know how and who approved that level of foreign currency when Trinidad and Tobago is apparently facing forex shortages. Now, according to CNC3 News, law enforcement may also get involved because one of the promoters involved reportedly has a pending criminal charge. Now, here's the thing. The promoters obviously had to make a public statement for the sake of their credibility. But sometimes, I know, what you do at the problem, you know, is how it's done. So do you feel like if the organizers had confirmed in their statement that Cartel was already paid 70% of his fee and was only owed 30% instead of disclosing actual figures, it would not have caused this level of investigation and the outcome of the event would not have been impacted so badly, causing almost every artist to pull out of performing last minute? And was it an emotional response from the promoters, or was it an egotistical one that backfired? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. Anyway, so the problem does not end there for the promoters of the One Caribbean Music Festival. Now, Trinidad and Tobago Promoters Association, TTPA, has distanced itself from the promoter and has said that they are extremely concerned about the circumstances that led to Cartel pulling out of the event. Right there you see the TTPA also calling for legislative reform in the entertainment and tourism sectors. So in other words, they might ask the government for new or better laws to protect and grow the entertainment and tourism industries. But some of the Trinis who actually went to the show, them don't care about that because them still say, look here, we want our money back. In the comment section of that post, this person said, we, the esteemed patrons who were painfully transgressed against, dumb business about reform. We want our money back. Well, so far we understand that 2 ticket outlets have said that, you know, they will refund the tickets. However, a lot of patrons got their tickets from One Caribbean Music Festival website. And according to the fine print, you can only get a refund if the show was cancelled. And we know how that go. But can that clause though save the promoter, or will patrons slowly start filing lawsuits since the promoter simply did not deliver what was advertised? Anyway, so while some patrons are demand their money back, others are try to take matters in their own hands. Right there is an upset patron damaging the lights at the event because Cartel pulled out, and now the lighting company is claiming property damage.
Why would you come on a public stage where there's so much footage of you and so much footage of you damaging the equipment? So what you're going to tell a judge when you get into court? You just need to plead guilty. You're going to say, well, I mash up $60,000 in equipment because Cartel didn't come.
All in all, I just think it's a sad situation. But when you hear about all of what transpired, does it reflect poorly on Trinidad and Tobago or just the promoter? Jump in the comments and share your thoughts. So, of course, you know, Cartel's next Caribbean appearance is on June 27 at the St. Kitts Music Festival, and now fans are already doing the math. So, based on Cartel's fee of $1.35 million that was revealed by the Trinidadian promoter, the St. Kitts and Nevis Times is reporting that the promoter of the St. Kitts Music Festival is selling tickets for $175 per night and would actually need to sell at least 23,142 tickets in one night just to cover Cartel's booking fee alone, not including production cost, logistics, artist hospitality, security, insurance, promotions, and the rest of the star-studded lineup. And as you can see right there on the flyer, Cartel is not the only artist booked for the 27th. You see Chronicler, Barrington Levy, Spice, Ja Vinci, and enough more. Now, the article also claims that even in the event's record-breaking year with Buju Banton, the music festival moved just over a record of 27,000 tickets across all 3 nights. Yes, so it's actually a 3-day festival. And they're saying that Buju's fee was just 1/3 of what Cartel charged, because at that time, Buju charged only $500,000. So with this information, could Cartel be pricing himself out of the Caribbean? What do you think? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. Did the promoter of One Caribbean Music Festival violate Cartel's privacy when he exposed his fee of $1.35 million? Though Cartel has hinted that his fee is a hefty sum, and, you know, drop hints through music about a couple milli to get him in your city, which many could speculate was just mere lyrics. Cartel himself, in truth, has never really confirmed the amount. Now, even after Freedom Street, when there were speculations circulating that he was paid $4 million, that was never even confirmed, neither by Joseph Bogdanovich, Scatter, or even Cartel himself. And speaking of Scatter, based on his involvement with Reggae Sumfest, he would know the fee of multiple entertainers, but he has never exposed that information. And if you can recall, in the past, Scatter has had to publicly discuss contracts and try to resolve issues when things go wrong at the event, and even in outlining certain details of a contract in terms of when they are to perform or whatever, Scatter, when explaining, usually gives vague examples instead of revealing or confirming an entertainer's actual fee.
We are interested in booking you for Reggae Sumfest this year. They point us in a direction who we must communicate with. Okay, can we have this is our offer, or can we have a price? The negotiations break down right there, so because the exuberant price that we get stop us from pursuing the negotiation. Because if a man tell you 300,000
USD.
Right? Yes. If a man tell you $300,000 to perform, and you do the maths, and you say, no, we can't accommodate.
That's how much I'm earning.
We can't accommodate that, right?
Yeah.
You just can't accommodate it.
So when Jacko come now and ball out say Cartel's fee is $1.35 million and that he was paid $950,000 instead of stating that, you know, him already received over 70% of his fee. Is that poor business etiquette? Will this move also affect how other entertainers conduct business with the promoter in the future? And did the promoter violate Cartel's privacy by revealing his fee? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. Well, what we know for sure is that this knowledge of Cartel's fee of $1.35 million has already sparked a conversation among industry professionals. We see where Chain of Irish and Chain said that he believes that the disclosure of Cartel's fees will cause a lot of problems in the industry. Check the levels.
There is a whole lot of problems about to erupt in our dancehall and reggae space. Among the problems, you know, the one that I want to zone in on is pricing. Because of the recent situation that took place with dancehall artist Vybz Cartel and the Trinidad promoters, right, which Vybz Cartel didn't show up at the show, and it has now been revealed that the overall ticket for Vybz Kartel's performance was 1.35 million US dollars, right? It opens a can of worms. Because now, I mean, people figured that Cartel was expensive, but they didn't understand how expensive. Now, let me say this before I go further. Cartel will go down in history as the highest paid reggae and dancehall artist of all times. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know any other artist, right, that has commanded that type of money, right? So 1.35 million from Trinidad, right? And now St. Kitts has jumped in and they're like, oh, wait a minute, we're paying 4 million EC, which kind of approximately is like maybe, you know, 100 and something, maybe 150,000 US dollars more, right, than what Trinidad paid. But in the midst of all of that, right, there's a bigger problem. The big problem is this: when the other reggae and dancehall artists understand that Vybz Kartel can command that type of money, they are ultimately going to raise their prices. There's no if, ands, or but about this. An artist that would normally ask for $80,000, and we're saying, boy, $80,000 is a whole lot of money, they're probably going to ask for $150,000, right? And now think about this. Artists that now have to do shows with Vybz Kartel, they're going to say, no, man, Cartel, I get $1 million+ for that show, yeah. Me need X amount of money, right? This is going to get out of hand, right? So even though everybody's zoning in on one situation, which would be Cartel versus the Trinidad promoter, there's a bigger thing erupting and you're not even looking at it. Dancehall and reggae artists, I don't care how much they love Vybz Kartel, I don't care how much they want to stay there in support of his career, right? It's all about money at the end of the day, and they're not going to want to know that promoters are willing to spend millions of dollars on one artist or $1 million+ on one artist and willing to give them 50,000, you know, 100,000, 150,000. So an artist who's now charging, let's say 500,000, right? His price is going to go up, as well as the artist who's charging 100,000. His or her price is going to go up, as well as the one who's charging 60,000. Their price is going to go up. Just wait for it, and remember that Chin told you all of these booking fees are going to go up as a result of everybody finding out what Cartel is getting in the marketplace.
Do you agree with Chin that Cartel's fee of 1.35 million US dollars will now cause other dancehall and reggae entertainers to raise their fees? And if they increase their fees, does this mean that concert goers will have to fork out more money to watch them perform? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. What do you think? You know, if you can remember, Trinidad was supposed to host the first Cartel show, you know. You remember when Cartel just came out of prison and he was doing a number of interviews, and in an interview with Roboranks, him say if Joe never booked him for Freedom Street, Trinidad would have gotten the first show. Check the levels.
You were almost right, because Jamaica wasn't going to be the first.
I told Mr. Buchanan, he said I have a crystal ball, but all right.
As a matter of fact, it was going to be Trinidad, but I don't know if you watched The Godfather. Remember when Don Corleone said to the dude, said, I made him an offer he can't refuse. So, I mean, Joe made an offer I couldn't refuse.
So based on Vybz Kartel's apology and the fact that Trinidad was supposed to be his first show, it really seems like Adi acted in good faith, like, you know, him did want Trinidad for go on.
I say, TJ, I know him long time, give him a blind. TJ reluctantly give a blind. You miss deadline after deadline. Me beg for him, say, TJ, give me a blind. Deadline after deadline, crying after crying. You just couldn't manage a Cartel show, and that's what you need to tell the people then. In a discussion. My only regret in the situation is that the Trinidad people are them you rob out of the chance to see Cartel after so many years.
It is unfortunate that this is the outcome, and you know, Trinidad fans never get a chance to see him, but business are business. And you know, speaking of business, you know, in a show business, them have this saying that you're as good as your last performance. So with that said, do you think this is something that the promoter can bounce back from, or this type of disaster are the thing will mash up legacy and reputation? Jump for the comments and share your thoughts. What do you think? So entertainer Jamason says he did not give his approval for a GoFundMe account that was created to raise funds for the burial of his child who was shot and killed in April. Now he shared this statement with the subject Unauthorized GoFundMe for Jabari Johnson. It says, "Dear family, friends, and community, I want to take a moment to address something very important. It has come to my attention that a GoFundMe campaign has been created seeking support for the burial of my beloved son, Jabari Johnson. Please know that I was not informed of or consulted about this fundraiser, and I did not give my approval for it to be set up. At this time, my family and I are handling arrangements privately. I truly appreciate the outpouring of love and concern during this incredibly difficult time. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Sincerely, Jamason." And in the caption of that statement, Jamason said, "We are managing all matters privately and nothing further is needed at this time. Give thanks." Wow, that's crazy. Oh, people say, "Oh, Tada, man." Condolences to you and the family, Jamason. Day at a time, I know it's easier said than done still, but one step at a time. Now, selector Foota Hype has seemingly diversified his portfolio to include stand-up comedy. Now, on Instagram, Foota shared a little snippet of what happened on stage at Lemon and Friends Comedy Explosion on June 1 in Lauderhill, Florida. Now, in the caption of the video, Foota say, "Views from my first stand-up comedy performance first night. Big up at CD Banging for the videos." Anyway, check the levels.
Remember, we got married here and get the green card. You have to pay attention, one. Sure. I want to. Remember, we have a boy, a little society, them and get a little bit of butter morning time. I want to. Sure. Hear yourself, man. When last you get a little young boy, lotion your foot. And put a little icy at my knee and shut them up here. Sure.
But what you say? Foota Hype ready for stand-up comedy? Hit up the comments and share your thoughts. Now, 450's manager producer Javi Ambassador is sending a message to the women in Jamaica and calling out the men as the violence against women continue to rise. Javi Ambassador is encouraging women to pray, speak up, and walk away.
It breaks my heart every time